The most popular social media platform among U.S. adults is not Instagram or TikTok. Microsoft is not releasing a diversity report this year. And a decision about breaking up Google's ad tech monopoly is on the horizon. It's Monday, November 24th, and here's a quick look at tech in the news this morning from Engadget. Social media is an overwhelming part of our lives these days, but the Pew Research Center provided an in-depth look at just how much we rely on those platforms. In a report that looks at social media usage with American adults that just came out, the data-driven think tank revealed some nitty-gritty details like year-to-year changes, age gaps, and, most importantly, frequency of use. At the number one spot, YouTube holds a dominant position with 84% of the 5,000 adults surveyed saying they use Alphabet's video sharing platform. Meta earns silver and bronze medals since 71% of adults said they use Facebook, while 50% responded positively when it comes to Instagram use. However, not all of Meta's social media outlets are doing well. Threads may have hit 400 million monthly active users this summer, but only 8% of adults surveyed said they use it. Rounding out the bottom of the list, only 21% of adults surveyed said they used X, while 4% of adults said they're on Blue Sky and 3% are on Truth Social. Besides popularity, the Pew Research Center also explored the frequency with which American adults use their preferred social media platforms. In a separate survey with 5,000 adults, the report uncovered that 52% of adults go on Facebook daily, with 37% of them logging on several times a day. Nearly as frequently, 48% of adults use YouTube daily, including 33% of that demographic watching videos on the platform several times a day. When looking at frequency through the lens of age gaps, the starkest difference is found with 47% of adults between 18 and 29 using TikTok at least once a day, while only 5% of those aged 65 or older use the ByteDance-owned app every day. When looking at annual trends, YouTube and Facebook have largely maintained stable usage and even some growth since 2021. Even though it may feel like Facebook has begun to stagnate, the report shows that it has a loyal user base that is still growing at a consistent rate. On top of that, Meta is still continuing to update the social media platform, including recently revamping Facebook Marketplace. Microsoft will not release a diversity and inclusion report for this year like it has been doing every year since 2019. GameFile's Stephen Totilo asked the company if it was skipping this year after it failed to publish a report from October to early November like it had done so the previous year. Microsoft's Chief Communications Officer Frank Shaw said, "We are not doing a traditional report this year as we've evolved beyond that to formats that are more dynamic and accessible, stories, videos, and insights that show inclusion in action. Our mission and commitment to our culture and values remain unchanged, empowering every person and organization to achieve more." Now, as Totilo noted, the Trump administration made it very clear early on that it was against government and corporate diversity, equality, and inclusion programs. Trump signed executive orders directing government agencies to roll back DEI initiatives and encouraged the private sector to do the same. Meta reportedly ended its DEI programs earlier this year, while Google reportedly announced that it will no longer set hiring targets to improve representation in its workforce. Totilo previously reported that Microsoft did not mention anything about its diversity programs in two shareholder reports for 2025, signifying that the company was not highlighting its DEI initiatives anymore like it did the previous years. Based on its statement, Microsoft is not completely dropping its DEI efforts. Without a report, however, we cannot keep an eye on its progress when it comes to things like pay equality and workforce diversity. Google made its final arguments in a long-standing case against the U.S. Department of Justice on whether it has to split up its ad tech practices. However, the judge presiding over the case may be looking to wrap up the case before Google has a chance to appeal. That's according to a report from Reuters. On Friday, both sides made their closing arguments in the lawsuit, where the Justice Department accused the tech giant of illegally monopolizing the ad tech market, while the U.S. District Court Judge Leonie Brinkema ruled in April that Google held a monopoly in the online ad tech space. The judge recently asked the Justice Department how quickly an anti-competitive measure could go into effect, adding that time is of the essence. Google's attorney, Karen Dunn, argued that forcing Google to sell its advertising tech subsidiary would be extreme and hurt customers in the process. Google is also reportedly planning to appeal the latest decision. According to Reuters, Brinkema noted that any sort of remedy most likely would not be as easily enforceable while an appeal is pending, meaning that Google could delay the forced sale until the appeal is concluded. At the same time, Google is facing a $3.5 billion fine for violating the European Union's antitrust laws within the ad tech industry. Thanks for listening. There's more to these stories and more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Jackson Chen and Mariella Moon and was voiced and produced from the sound studios of Spoken Layer. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more tech news from Engadget.